Now, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal has called USCIRF, that is US Commission of International Religious Freedom, a biased organization that quote-unquote lacks credibility. Randhir Jaiswal also said that the US body has been making disparaging and inflammatory remarks about India. India has hit back at the US Commission on International Religious Freedom over its call for sanctions against the RSS. The reaction comes after the Commission chair, Asif Mahmood, opposed RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat's upcoming visit to New York. The Commission has also urged Washington to impose sanctions on RSS members and not extend diplomatic courtesies to its leaders. Bhagwat is also scheduled to visit New York on 29th of August. India, however, has rejected the Commission's allegations and questioned the body's credibility. You have the statement, in fact, that was issued by the Commission of International Religious Freedom, and of course India hitting back at the claims and the allegations against RSS. Remember, MEA has rejected all the allegations, saying that it's a biased commentary that has been made and disparaging remarks by a commission. I have my colleague Manohar Kesri joining us to get us more details on this. Manohar, this statement shows only the hypocrisy of United States, which continues to have, in fact, racial attacks taking place in its own countries. But in spite of taking care of its own territory and the rules and regulations within it, it is going out and, in fact, commenting on RSS, which is hundreds of years of old organization in India, and not only commenting on RSS, in fact also opposing an individual who is RSS chief's visit to New York.
देखिए बिल्कुल आरएसएस प्रमुख मोहन भागवत विजिट हैं और ऐसे में जो अमेरिका की संस्था है USCIRF उनके चेयरपर्सन हैं तो उन्होंने सीधे तौर पर कहा था कि आरएसएस पे बैन लगाना चाहिए, उनका राजकीय सम्मान नहीं होना चाहिए। और ऐसे में अब भारत के विदेश मंत्रालय की ओर से जो जवाब दिया गया है और कहा गया है कि ये संस्था जो है वो बायस संस्था है और अपमानजनक संस्था है, भड़काऊ बातें करता है। तो ऐसी स्थिति में हमें उनकी बातों पर ध्यान नहीं देना चाहिए। जो प्रवक्ता है मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स के रणधीर जायसवाल, इन्होंने कहा है कि यूएस बॉडी भारत के बारे में अपमानजनक और भड़काऊ बातें कर रहा है। तो ऐसे में यह एक बायस्ड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है। मैं कहूंगा कि हमें ऐसे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से दूर रहना चाहिए, क्योंकि उनका अपना एजेंडा है, उनमें कोई क्रेडिबिलिटी नहीं है और उम्मीद नहीं है कि USCIRF भारत के टेररिस्टिक फ्रेमवर्क की सच्चाई से जुड़ेगा या इससे अलग अलग तरह के सामुदायिक मिलजुल कर रहने को मानेगा। तो ऐसी स्थिति में दोषित जवाब देते हुए विदेश मंत्रालय ने साफ तौर पर कहा है कि ये बायस संस्था है।
Right. In fact, Manohar, we are also being joined by Ambassador Sushil Kumar Singhal, former diplomat, to get us his perspective on this. Ambassador, of course, what the Commission has cited is the FORB violations. Now, FORB violation is essentially an infringement on the fundamental human right to freedom of religion or belief. Now, on what basis the Commission has levelled these charges against RSS? We do not have any history with the organization where an individual has been convicted of these violations. What is your perspective on this?
Well, you know, this USCIRF, which is chaired by this gentleman called Asif Mahmood, who is, when you have this kind of organization, what is required for credibility, in my view, is the most important, that the person should be unbiased and not affiliated with any government or organization. But in this case, this Asif Mahmood, he himself is, he's a Pakistan-born American citizen who is chairing this organization, and he has a apparently close tie with the government of Pakistan. So anything which comes out with this kind of organization, you have to understand the background and make opinions accordingly based on their background. So I would not give really much credibility to this report with the gentleman and his reports and his claims. Because, first of all, this is not based on facts. India is the only country in the world where the minorities are thriving. And since independence, the number of the minorities of population has increased. When you compare with other countries in South Asia or in countries in the world, you find that India is an exception, where the minorities are thriving. So claiming that that the RSS chief is doing this or that or baseless claim, he is not backed with any facts or figures. So just putting a wild allegation against an organization, I think it does not behove of any organization who claims to be independent. So I would not really give much credibility, and I think the government of India's position on this has already been made very clear by the spokesperson for the Ministry of External Affairs by Randhir Jaiswal, that we need not give and need to give any credibility to this kind of reports or calls, because the way he is asking the government of USA, it clearly shows how biased this gentleman or this organization is. So I will just stop there, and I will not really give much credibility, because they have their own agenda which they are pursuing, and they think that just taking the umbrella of the government of USA or the US administration, they can justify their act. But it's very clear that they are very biased and making a wild allegation which is not based by fact by the facts. Thank you.
Absolutely, Ambassador. Thank you so much for joining and getting your perspective on this. Shifting our focus to more breaking news.